Hey guys, this is Keith with Car Creative, and today's tutorial is to discuss managing a WordPress dashboard. Once you've actually gone and secured your hosting with either GoDaddy, Bluehost, and I'm with 1-in-1, you can have them turn on your WordPress, and as well as you secure your domain name through them. If you want to do it manually, you can go to a website such as register.com and you can secure your domain by searching sites and so forth. So then you will get a username and a password, and you just log into your dashboard. So here we are again at the WordPress dashboard. Let's get started. Alright, logging in to your dashboard, it lands on the dashboard, and this kind of gives you a general overview, a quick view of your back-end dashboard. Jetpack is a subscription to WordPress.com, and it's a definite must-have. It just allows you to install a lot of different plugins and adds functionality to your website. The post section is where you build the running blog elements of your site, more of a dynamic. More of the dynamic content of your website. Portfolio on my theme is my front landing page, and it's where I have just large icons, and they work a lot like posts. Post to, and we'll discuss that. Media is where your media library is where all your images are stored, your graphics, videos, PDFs, and so forth. Pages, more of the static side, if you will, of your website. It works a lot like Post to, and this is where you go in and actually build your pages. Comments are where you can you manage how people interact with your website, and you can set it up to where you want to be able to. You have to get in and approve it, or you can just let it go automatically. And if you're not careful, this can run away with you. So you do have to manage it, or you just ask for an email to be sent, so you have to say whether it's going to get posted or not. Contacts are when, in my case, I've got the contact form 7. I've got one contact as well as a smaller one, but you can go in and build customize a contact form that's placed in there, and it's really straightforward on how this is applied, and we'll discuss that further. Appearance, this is where you get in, and if you go to and manage and purchase a theme from a third-party vendor, you can get in. This is where you would install it. Widgets are where you go in and generally sidebar elements of plugins, and this is where you manage those. Menus is where you actually get in and manage how your pages, and you see there's a parent, there's a child link, so you just move them back and forth, and so that's pretty easy. Once you've already done pages, portfolio items, you can create custom links. You can organize pages through categories, and we'll discuss that further, and then you can get in and place a background, and that's and these are different plugin elements to the top, so we're a little arrow down at the bottom right hand corner. If it's a really rolling if you've got it turned on to where it's really a long page, and you can have that little click to top, and it just shoots you back to the top. You can get in and edit your CSS and tweak it relatively easily. And this is where the editor side of it, and you want to be careful because this gives you these are core theme functions, and so you really get into the core side of so if you're not too comfortable with that, I would probably recommend staying away from that. Plugins is where you get in, and once you've installed additional add-ons, then this is where you would activate and deactivate all of your plugins, and we'll discuss that a little further. Users, you can define one level admin. You can have secondary users that can get in and do guest blogging and so forth, and kind of more of a buddy press function, and this is where you assign users and how much access they have to the dashboard. As an administrator versus a user is not going to have as much access to all of the settings and tools and that kind of thing. So and SEO, this is another add-on, but you can get in and start measuring and just tracking the SEO side of your blog. And here is a cyclone slider, and that's just a larger screen slider to where you go in and you build a dynamic slideshow. And these two add-ons, gzip is where you can actually get in and assist on compressing images, and testimonials is another plug-in that allows me to get in and allow people to add. Let's go over to the blog, and you'll see the different widgets, social media, and that's the LinkedIn badge. That's that subscription through the Jetpack I was referring to. That's a must-have. These are just HTML links, and there's a Google badge, and I've got an AdSense widget, so I allow for ads to kind of roll in through the AdSense. Related topics, you can select categories, and you can kind of allow people to search your site that way. I've got that testimonial link where you can add rolling testimonials from clients. Follow us on Facebook, another widget for Pinterest, another widget for Twitter. These are just different topics. That's my rolling blog that people can cycle through and see different blog posts and their titles, and these are tags as well. So it just gives people another way to manage through your website using widgets. Okay, well, let's first get started and discuss kind of the elements of your website. And first thing we're going to touch on is the blog post, and actually placing a blog post, placing your text, images, and so forth. And let's go back to the back end of the dashboard, and let's go into the post section. And this is again where you would actually go in and build your post. And so once you've gone in and added new, you would give it a title, and you go in and you start editing that post. First, either you can do it visually with a drag and drop, or you can actually go in and put in your source code. And but this is where you would actually go in and put your text in this area, as well as here's a YouTube video, and you can go in and start formatting columns, layers, so you can start putting in. I've got a plugin called Easy Columns where you can actually start putting in. Well, let's do this. Let's go ahead and create a new post. Add new, test, and you can actually go in and start building in columns such as thirds, and you can go in and actually start editing text, so forth, and you can actually then you can go in and start adding media, and you can actually put in an image into the post, and then you just start building the through your styles, through columns, through adjustments, alignments, and just start formatting with indents and basically a word processor. And then we start addressing categories, and this is how someone could actually search through your blog post, and you start assigning it categories and tags and so forth. So it just gives the ability for someone that's searching through your website, they can actually filter based on your categories and tags. And then you'll actually come in and put in a title itself, and then you basically have 7 words here, and so you can just go in and basically, well, I can't type, but you can go in and put in titles that would allow for search engines to seek you out. So basically you have 7 words, and you've got 140 to 150 characters to put in to your meta description, and this is where you address your SEO. Let's go ahead and look back at an existing page. So let's see here. So this is where you come in, and I put in a YouTube video, and and dropped in a title tag, and it just used an existing site description to for the site description. So, well, that's kind of touching on a nutshell on how you build a post. All right, guys. Now that we've discussed more the dynamic content of your website or your blog, if you will, let's move over to more of the static side of your site, which would be pages. So let's so again, that's kind of the static, your services, your who you are, your background, your bio, and versus your rolling blog. But when we go back in and we'll look at the back end, so you've got your post section, but you've also got your pages. But again, the pages are set up the same way, and you organize them through your menu section, your appearances and your menus, and we'll get to that in a minute. But it's really the same general way as a post. You've got you apply your content, and you get in and you address your SEO functions, your meta descriptions. You don't deal with categories and tags and so forth, but you do want to be you definitely want to understand how your permalink is set up so that it so someone can find you relatively easily. But that's kind of understanding that posts are dynamic and pages tend to be static. Okay, let's see. We've back to post and pages. We touched on how to add content, photos, videos, and etc. And so those elements are called media. So when you go into posts and pages are the same way, and you edit your you can actually put in either, and this is where you add media, and when you go to click on it, you could add it from your desktop or your local drive, or you can add it in your media library, which is already stored within your media section. So let's click on that media library. So click on your media button, and so you can actually, this is where you go in and you can, if you want to upload 50 items at once, you can actually go in and upload a gallery. You can which is many items, or you can just upload individual components that you would go in and insert into a post or into a page. Alright, let's see here. Let's go back and look at the a post, and you can kind of see how they've got categories, and it's a way to allow users to search the site. So I just want to briefly touch on categories and tags. So let's see. So if we go in and you got posts, so you got categories and tags, and again, it's just a matter of going in and just creating them so that, and same thing with tags. And categories tend to be a broader stroke, a larger description, and tags tend to be more specific. So again, when you go into to look in, and well, let's go back and let me show you actually in an actual post. So once you've gone in and created your post, you can go in and just check categories and tags. So not only does it give your users the ability to search your site based on those categories and tags, but it also they also get picked up by search engines as well. So it's good SEO. All right, let's take a quick look at the contact page, and on mine I've got contact form 7. So let's go back in and taking a look at the plugins. And this is where you would actually go in and add a new contact form. And so let's see here. And it's just a matter of you just generate, tell it what you want to add. You want to add a text field such as a comment, email box, URL, telephone number, and so forth. And then you go in and determine your asterisks, and it'll tell whether it's required or not. And so it'll allow you to click required, not, and then it's just a matter of you add this text here. Once you go through and start adding elements to it, you grab this text and stick it over here, and this text, and you build in your message body and add text to it. And so this is how your email's received, and this is how your form's set up. And then you just cut and paste that short code onto wherever you want to place that form, whether it's on a page or whether you do it in a widget that appears on your sidebar of your website. And this is where the email will be sent. So that's contact form 7, and again, that's a plugin that I've added to the WordPress. And that's a must-have. Okay, now that we've discussed post and pages, let's touch on some add-ons creating the look of your WordPress. And let's go to themes, or appearance themes. And WordPress comes stock with their stock versions of WordPress. You can get in and customize it, and it does take a little bit of developer knowledge, but you can get in and tweak those as well. Or you can just go to a third-party vendor, and I'd like to go to themeforest.net, and you can just search through all of their different WordPress elements. And so you just go in and click on, just find a theme that looks good, and you just start to kind of dig through and see what their different templates have to offer. And that's just more of a creative. Let's go to WordPress Creative. And you can go through and kind of, you just dig through and just find one that that you really like the feel of, and you go in and you dig through there and see what all the pages, the services, portfolio function, the blog section, and you basically purchase it, and again it's an upsell, and it's an add-on, but it can enhance the look of your WordPress. Okay, so that's themes, and then you go into widgets, and those are sidebar elements, generally on your or your rolling blog section, and you can put it on pages and wherever you want to put your different elements, such as social media, and then you can blog description. This is a Jetpack function, and then you could to where they can put in their email and send it to you, and then you can allow them to subscribe, and every time you write a post, it'll kick it over to them. Kind of serves as an RSS function. Does it automatically. And follow me on Google Plus, and you can just put in different inspirational links and show your categories and show a rolling testimonial. And so you just go in and just add on these, and that's where you manage your widgets or your plugins. And under plugins is actually where you go in and you look and seek out new different add-ons, such as a captcha on your form. As the Jetpack, that's a must-have. Is get Jetpack from WordPress itself, and it just has many different tools. Image compressions, adding a favicon or an ICO file, ICO, adding a LinkedIn button or a badge. The easy columns, we touched on that earlier. Contact form 7 is almost a must-have. So this is, plugins are definitely an upsell item, but it's a must-have to kind of understand exactly, and adjust the look and feel of your WordPress theme. All right, let's see. Let's just bounce back to Contact Form 7 as a plugin, but let's go back to the plugin list and just touch back onto general must-haves. Keysmed, I've heard it say, a couple different. Keysmed, that's a security function. That's a really good. You have to subscribe and get your API, but that's a must-have. A favicon, if it's not already set up in your theme, if you decide to go with a third-party theme, then having some way to add a favicon or an ICO file is a really a good must-have. Contact form, definitely. Easy columns, depending on. Let me show you this. This Visual Composer is another. This is another theme here. Let me just kind of show you real quick. This is another theme that actually has, when using the columns, it's called Visual Composer, and you can actually get in and manage columns and really easily, and it allows you to do adding widgets, and just a really good. So I tend to now, with newer themes, if selecting WordPress, I tend to build around Visual Composer. So that's just a really nice additional thing to look for when you're seeking out a theme or a template. But this is kind of a different way of doing it, using the easy column, so you can actually use a little shortcode. AdSense, adding AdSense to your website allows you to allow for rolling ads to come in from vendors and so forth. It just kind of I think it adds credibility, and it polishes your site a little bit. So it's almost a must-have as well. Jetpack, by all means, use Jetpack, and again, you're digging through there. There's just tons of different items you can put in there. So I would definitely look through Jetpack. Captchas is just a really good security function, so that you don't get spammed with bots, robots or bots sending you generic spam emails, and so then you don't have to get in there, manage your emails as well as your comments. And I think we touched on that earlier. That's just a lot of management. So captchas tend to cut down on that a lot. That's just a little thing at the bottom of your form that you have to put in a special code. And SEO Ultimate, at the bottom of the post and the pages, where you can add titles and descriptions. That's where you would. There's a couple of different ones that you can use to add SEO. I tend to like the SEO Ultimate because it also gives me extra functionality. Social media widgets on the sidebar just allows me to go in and manage all my, all these attached different social media profiles. That's a must-have. So social media, SEO, Jetpack. Let's see, the AdSense, Contact Form 7, and a Keysmed. Those are all must-haves. I'm sure there's other ones, but those are must-haves for me. All right. Widgets. Widgets is something we could probably never discuss enough. So let's go take a quick look at widgets again. And again, it's all these plugins where we're saying they were must-haves. Facebook and AdSense and Jetpack, of course. But this is where you go in and you just drag them in, and you go through and you just start to manage. So here's social media widgets, and you can get in and just start adding your URLs and gaming, and just so there's just tons of different components to it. So that's well worth exploring, the social media widget. The Jetpack function, you can get in and define an email that you want it to go to, and a text placeholder, and this is the text that goes on the button itself, and it goes to the administrator email that you have set up for your website. These are text inspiration links, and these are all just HTML links over to some of my favorite sites. And this is the AdSense script that once you subscribe to AdSense and you get approved and everything, you just get a little script that you just cut and paste it into a text widget. Categories, and it just shows you how I've got it displayed as a drop down, showing the counts and the hierarchy, and I just call it related topics, and that's how all my categories will roll in. Testimonial widget. Again, it's you just go in and you just go in and build in your testimonials, and this is where you manage them within your sidebar widget. Pinterest, you've got a little script that you cut and paste it into a text widget. Twitter, on your Twitter account, you just build your script and you build it in your actual Twitter account and you place in that script. Recent post, I've got 40 coming in, so it just shows the post title and it gives you a link over so you can manage your, and I've got to show date so I know from the latest will pop up first. And then the little tag cloud, again, that's post tags, and those tags, and it's just another way to search your blog. So that's just kind of widgets and touching on widgets, and you can never talk too much about widgets, but that's a big part of it. And but be careful, you can have too many widgets on your site, and if you ever have issues with your website, there's potentially conflicts. So you want to keep your widgets updated as often as you can. So you look up here, and these are just the two themes that I'm not using, so I'm not worried about updating. But you'll want to constantly look at your themes and plugins and make sure that they're updated. Okay, so just imagining that your posts and pages, more so your pages have already all been developed, and so you have the general outline of your site. Now it's a matter of going in and defining how they actually appear. So you would go through and just check the pages that you want to, and just add, and they will constantly just appear, and you just kind of move them around basically however you want them to appear. So you've got different levels. You've got parents and child, so you can just move them around depending on how you want them to appear across the top, and that you just make sure you hit save. And links, you can go in and put in a title. Say you've got a secondary site you want to go ahead and stick in your menu. You just put that whatever the title is, and then you just put the link, add to menu, and you just drop it in, whether it's a parent or a child element. And same thing with categories. You can go in, and so you say you've got an e-commerce section that you want to put all these different elements into your menu. You just go through and just organize them with categories, and so that it'll go over, and then you have and it'll bring up all the categories. Well, I guess if you're selling children's clothes, you put in children's clothes as the category, and then that'll appear in your menu, and someone will click on it, and it'll go to everything that's got that category attached to it. And then portfolio categories, kind of the same idea if you want to organize your menu that way. Okay, that's menus. Okay, I'll just touch briefly on analytics. Once you've got your site built and you're already starting to track it in search engines, and you've already figured out title tags are super important to track SEO and so forth. Then you want to go ahead and attach, you want to upload a sitemap, and you want to go ahead and here's a really good plugin for that. You want to go ahead and get a sitemap over to Google. You open up a Google Analytics account, and then you just go ahead and you start tracking your domain. You can have, when you go to home, you can have many different domains that you track analytics, and you get in and start tracking how people move around your site, and you start looking at demographics, you start looking at interest, technology, how are they, what browsers are people using to find you, and whether they're mobile devices, and how people are acquired through different channels, through referrals such as Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, and then you just start to track that, and you start to figure out click rate. You start to figure out bounce rate. What percentage of people getting to your site and then they're leaving, and it's just something that you really want to start studying, just so you know how people are interacting with your website, so that you can give them more content that they seem to be drawn to. That's Google Analytics, just kind of touching on the surface of tracking analytics on a WordPress. All right, guys, this is probably a good place to kind of end it. This was just a general course on working around a WordPress dashboard, and if you got any questions, don't hesitate to drop me an email, Keith at carcreative, KARRCREATIVE.com. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Give me on Twitter as well, Facebook. However, drop me a line, and I'd certainly welcome your feedback, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks again.